With us now from D.C., former State Department spokesman and ambassador to Bahrain, Adam Early is with us. Sir, thank you.
Always a pleasure, Shep.
When you look down that river, Baghdad is at the end of that line of cities, but is there real concern that Baghdad could fall? There isn't.
No, I don't think so. That's a very tough target. I think they could probably get as close as the airport, maybe a little bit more. But remember, there are millions of Shia faithful in Baghdad, and I don't think that ISIS has the force to overwhelm them. But it certainly would be a game changer to have them take the airport.
I was wondering, since we talked about that, if I could ask you about these as well, because we know they've come down here, they got hit, and then they got a number of bases there, and we know about Ramadi, we know about Fallujah, we know about this city today. If they can get all of those, it's not the same thing as getting Baghdad because of this large population of people who will fight for it?
Right. Well, yeah, absolutely.
But wouldn't fight for those other towns?
No. Well, first of all, those other towns are largely Sunni.
Right.
Second of all, they're much smaller and they're much easier to surround and take and hold. But I think, look, two broader points to make. Number one, I think what we're seeing is a very uneasy coalition against ISIS. You've got Turkey, you've got Iran, you've got the Gulf states, you've got Europe. They might all agree on the need to fight ISIS, but they don't agree on much else besides that. Turkey wants to know what's the plan with Assad, and they're not willing to jump in until the U.S. and others are willing to commit to taking out Assad. We're not willing to do that. The Gulfies want to fight ISIS, but they don't want to work with Iran because they see Iran as much a threat as they do ISIS. So there's a coalition, frankly, in name, but I don't think there's a coalition in terms of long-term strategy. That's point one. Point two, I think what you're seeing when you look at Kobani and then you look at Iraq is, Kobani's the problem of today, but even if we save Kobani, there's going to be another one tomorrow. And the fact of the matter is, there is no long-term military solution to this problem. At the end of the day, the solution is political and cultural. And as long as you have identity-based politics, which are divided along religious and sectarian lines, violence is going to be a part of the reality of this region. And so that's why when you see countries like Iran fomenting extremism, supporting Shia elements with arms and violent agendas, that does not augur well for the future of this part of the world.
Bless you, Mr. Ambassador, and thank you for that very much.
Okay.
To recap, there is no military solution. The violence will continue. And unless you fix the government, nothing's going to change. So far, there's not very good evidence that the government is fixed. Watch this space.